we were literally fighting for our jobs. They hand out these armbands and tell us what they want us to do. They made it pretty clear if this didn't turn out the way they wanted it to, that was it for us.
Do you think the Nexus kind of prepared WWE for when the Shield came along?
This was a real game show. They tried to make this a real reality show. We didn't know what was going on. I don't think that it gave WWE what they wanted when WWE itself is entirely planned. Vince wants to try me as like an announcer. Liked my work so much, he asked me to be a commentator on SmackDown. I was like, wow, I never expected that. And so I did that, and I really enjoyed it.
How do you look back at that SummerSlam 2010 and everything kind of that went down surrounding it?
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.
My guest today has worn many hats in the wrestling world, from in-ring competitor to legal advisor to commentator and now YouTuber, as he's sharing a ton of great stories on his ever-growing channel. He's a Harvard Law graduate, a former two-time WWE Tag Team Champion. Please welcome the A-lister, David Otunga.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, that's awesome.
But I just wanted to say thank you for coming on here. And in the middle of your YouTube channel, which is, I feel weekly, I see a video that you put out blow up. And I feel like you've been doing so good on the channel. Has it been like difficult? Because you have a lot of longer videos where you are just kind of talking to the camera and great detail about these stories. So how has that kind of been adapting to that?
Thank you. It's been kind of wild because, like, actually, now that you mention it, like, those longer videos have been some of my more successful ones, or the most
Yeah.
successful ones. Whereas that in and of itself, I mean, it's kind of humbling to me in a way where, like, wow, people actually, I like, 'cause I feel like nobody wants to sit and listen to me for nearly an hour. On like my John Cena video is like 55 minutes, and that's like the highest you'd ever. People sat through it, glued to every word. I'm like, wow, that says something. The people are that invested
Totally.
in my personal story, because then it's some of the legal videos are topical, but then some of them people watch them, but it's the ones that actually are about like my life and stuff. Those are the ones that people really get invested in. So I mean, it feels good in that respect, because also like the people who continually watch, like, they're really invested in me, and so they like whatever I'm putting out. So yeah, I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. I mean, do you have notes for them too? Because I feel like the detail, there are some cuts that you could tell, like I could tell you're probably going back and like remembering, but all in all, like your detail for these stories, your memory is pretty incredible.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, like really, a lot of the times, like we do this, I do this off the top of my head, and so it's actually this is what we're as I was speaking about, I was doing a live stream on my channel, and it actually crashed in the middle. But what we do is we do something for our channel members, is where I have a YouTube partner who helps me like edit and create stuff and produce it. And so like him and I will kind of brainstorm in real time, and we're showing this with people. We live stream as you watch us create the video, and like he'll write down bullet points like as I talk and as we pull things out, and then when we go through the video, I can see a list of like the bullet points I want to talk about. And then I just go through and bam, 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 bam. But then like you hear it, like a lot of times I'll just tell these stories, like something will remind me of something, and I'll go on a quick tangent and tell like an amazing story. And then you know what? We clip that and put that out as something. But it's kind of like a behind the scenes and showing how the sausage is made. So
Yeah.
huge concept.
So that's an affiliate, I think, that you could become on your channel, right? One of those members?
Yeah, a channel
A
membership.
channel member. Okay.
Yeah. And then we use we put our live streams there. So it's like unedited, and you really see like how we do it. And then actually the finished product is just, cuts and clip out the little parts where we're, discussing or whatever, but like you can see how it's made.
Oh, very cool. I think everyone should definitely go check out your channel. Are there any video ideas coming up that we should keep our eyes out for?
Ideas coming up. Well, for one thing, I'm always open to ideas. It's whatever whatever pops up is topical, or if somebody else has an idea. One thing that you guys should definitely start looking out for is, so right now my channel is known for like it's wrestling and law and like where they intersect. But I've also just started a strictly law channel, and we
Oh,
started
okay.
that last week where we had our first Ask a Lawyer live stream. So I just live streamed and would take questions from people, on air live and just kind of go through it and talk about different scenarios and hypotheticals. And it's really fun. And even some of those, they can be wrestling related, but that's not the point, just general. So that's been really fun too.
Yeah, and you're at that perfect intersection too of wrestling and law. I didn't realize how many videos there could be about like where that intersects until I saw your channel. Like it's so interesting. The New Jack one was awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because like that was one of the most requested videos of all time. Was like, you got to talk about a New Jack. And so I had a lot of fun because like the legal nerd in me, I really appreciate that because I understand like okay, so in that video it came down to why he wasn't convicted, and it was really like the standard of care within a profession, and blading is part of professional wrestling.
Right.
So, was he in line with the standard of care as it terms to blading, or did he go beyond the scope of what was allowable within the terms of blading? So something that's already extreme, and how do you convince a jury that he went too far? Like, how do you do that? Or do you say that he because he was using a scalpel also?
Right.
Like, was it 1 inch too deep, a centimeter, like how do you figure this out? But to me, that kind of stuff is so fascinating, and it was really cool because that's really what the case turned on, and I don't think people realized it, but it was a little nuance like that.
No, it's very fascinating, and it's so cool to see where you are now in this point of your career. Bringing it back to the when the world first sees you at large on that NXT Game Show edition, season one. There's so much to say about that season one, but is it true? One thing I've heard that that season was actually like very real, at least as far as
Oh,
for you guys, a lot of the games and everything.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And actually, I go really in depth in this again on my YouTube channel. This is for my members. I've been doing watch alongs live with my other members from NXT. So with some of the guys, like the
Oh,
first
that's
the
cool.
first episode was with Justin Gabriel. We did a watch along. I've had Michael Tarver on there, Darren Young, Heath Slater, I think is coming up next. But anyway, like we talked about this, that giving you the behind the scenes, this was a real game show. They tried to make this a real reality show at first, and it was. Now it's kind of counterintuitive because everything in wrestling is supposed to be real. If it's
Yeah.
worked, okay, but the performers know what's going on. But for the first time, we didn't know what was going on. And I don't think that it necessarily gave WWE what they wanted, because it probably would have helped if like you told us what was going on a little bit better. Like it could, like there was no reason for us to be in the dark and for us to give actual, like responses and be kayfabe. There's no reason for that when WWE itself is entirely planned. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like we're pretending like it's not. So I don't understand why just our show was supposed to be legit. However, it did provide for some great moments, and you really had to show like how good you were just like on your own and as a talent and being creative, because like the matches obviously were predetermined, and that stuff like you put together whatever, but our promo segments and just different things they would catch you with on the fly, they were not written, and so like you had to be good and be able to think on your feet. And for me being a lawyer, that's one place I excelled, so for that reason I liked it because it helped me stand out in a good way.
Yeah, it's such an interesting like method too, because I feel like there's not many we haven't seen WWE do that too often in its history of just like throwing brand new guys out there on TV and think on the fly. Were there any moments that you were particularly proud of that you were able to think on your feet in that season?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
every episode, because like you never knew what was gonna happen, and like the promo, so they would give you a word, and on the spot you got to do something. So I was really happy about that. There was one where I forget what it was. We had to earn money or we had to do something like from the audience. Oh, sell programs. That's what it was. And I'm just thinking of my feet. And this is lawyer and me again. I started hiring fans. Say, here, you go sell all these out for me. And they did it. And I won by a landslide. But that wasn't scripted. That was me thinking on my feet. I was really proud of that. And then, I was really proud of the promo battle and the finale of NXT, the very last one, and Wade Barrett and I going one on one. I don't know if people realize that, but like that wasn't scripted and we didn't know we were going to have that. But like, I knew that I had to have a couple things ready. I had a full clip for everybody on the roster, so I was ready to go. I really liked it. And Wade was a great, adversary in that he hit me with a good one that even I had to say was good because I always talked about the it factor, and he said, yeah, something like if you put two letters before that. I was like, oh, I was trying not to sell it on TV, but I really liked that. Shout out to Wade for that. That was a good one. It was a good
No,
jab.
it was just a good line, just that good.
I
But
feel like mine was better,
but
but
yeah, no, for sure. I love that you're doing the watch alongs with the other Nexus members because I personally love Nexus so much. Like I thought it was revolutionary at the time. I still wish we heard even a little bit about it these days in WWE because I think it is a big point of history. I've had some other Nexus members on. They took us through that big night, the debut, but I love to see through your eyes what that big debut on Raw was like for Nexus.
oh wow. You know, I think part of what made it so successful and why it stood out as such a memorable moment was because of how real like it was, like how authentic it was, because this really blurred the line because there was a lot of truth to this. It's like, we were literally fighting for our jobs. Like we got brought up from developmental, we were given our opportunity then. And we'd seen other people, other talent from FCW with us go up to the main roster, not make it, and get sent back down. I'll give you a name, Kazarni. This was a guy who was a vet in FCW when I was there, and he went up to SmackDown. Lasted like 2 weeks. They sent him down and got rid of him. Like we were shocked. There was another guy, Eric Escobar. He was champion in FCW. I remember one night after FCW TV, I think he was dropping the title or something, and Dusty Rhodes like cut a promo to the entire locker room, was commending him, like saying how that was the finest match he's ever seen in FCW history. And I was like, what? Like really? Like, because I'm new. Like the match was good, but like that was the best. I'm like, yo, I got to go back and rewatch this. Anyway, I say that to say he went up on the main roster like the next week. I think he was in one segment and he was gone.
Yeah,
He's
I
gone.
remember that
So
too.
like,
I think it was like a
so
backstage segment. Not to
so
interrupt.
like, yeah, I
Yeah,
think I think
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
But like, so my point being, this was the guy at FCW for a while. Like, this was very real. You get your opportunity up there, and if it doesn't work, you're done. So for us with NXT, this was our opportunity, in essence. So like, if you won, obviously you'd be safe. And I figured, since I came, in runner up, I probably wouldn't be outright fired. I might have to go back to FCW or something, but I don't know. But everybody else thought they were getting fired. But on that day, they called us all to TV. This was after NXT was over. So the fact that all of us were there together, we didn't know what was going on. They didn't talk to us. We were kind of worried. We did think there might be a mass firing. Like that place is savage. Like they'll do anything. So it came time for when doors already had opened. They call us into Vince's office. They hand out these armbands and tell us what they want us to do. And they made it pretty clear that if this didn't turn out the way they wanted it to, that was it for us. That we were done. Like they kind of let that be known. So in essence, we knew if we want to keep working here, this has to be amazing. We have to hit a home run here. Nothing short of that. So like we really were fighting for our jobs. And I think that's why like it came across on the screen. And it wasn't even just that one night. Because like after we did that and they were happy, all right, well the next week or the next night, same thing. And if it doesn't look good, hey, you're done. I think it took us probably a month before we started to realize, like once we knew what was going to happen at SummerSlam, then we realized, all right, they probably just can't outright fire us now if it doesn't work. But at the same time, then, what could happen at SummerSlam, like we could be done after that. So they always found a way to make us feel like, we were our jobs were in jeopardy.
That's crazy. And you guys always deliver too. Like those Nexus beatdowns,
Thanks.
everything about the Nexus was, I thought it was great up until SummerSlam, like you mentioned. It's a pivotal night for the Nexus. How do you look back at that SummerSlam 2010 and everything kind of that went down surrounding it?
Um, Honestly, like it was awesome. It was my first, main event. And in SummerSlam, like that was to main event SummerSlam. I mean, like right off, that's awesome. I
Bret
was
Hart,
just
right?
and I was so new. I was just a ball of nerves. Like I just wanted to do well and whatever. And like initially we were supposed to win and go over, which made sense. Then they changed it to where Cena was then going to win, and or Cena changed it. I'm sorry. They, Cena, whatever, one and the same. Um, there wasn't anything I could say about it. So like I just accepted it as like we weren't happy about it. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You know? And so like, all right. And we went along with it. And in hindsight, obviously, that was not the right decision. It was not the right call. But yeah, it is what it is.
Do you remember like what your guys' thoughts were immediately after the match?
Immediately after, I mean, we wanted, I just wanted to make sure that we done a good job, and
Mhm.
they said that they were pleased with it and everything. But we were kind of uncertain. Like I didn't know what was going to happen with the story, where they were going. I assumed by Cena winning that they were building to something and they had some kind of payoff where this actually was going to be a good thing for us, but it was. I was trying to rationalize it for them.
Right.
And yeah, but like I realized like sometimes there's no rhyme or reason for why things happen like that.
Well, you guys still managed to make an impact. And I'm curious, I've seen this like narrative online and stuff. Do you think that the Nexus kind of prepared WWE for when the Shield came along and like prepared them to, go about a faction the right way?
Hey, it's gonna look like we set this up. I promise you we did.
No, we
That's the
didn't.
next that's the next video I have coming out.
Wait, really?
I
Oh, that's
promise you.
crazy.
Already in the can and recorded. Yep. Um Getting ready to drop I want to say Friday. I'm not sure when this comes out, but
This
it'll be
this
on
will
my
come out after Friday. So,
okay. Well, it should be on my channel now if you're listening, which is even
yeah.
better. But I absolutely believe that, and I go into depth and lay out like how everything that went wrong with the Nexus, or where WWE failed or dropped the ball, they made sure that they corrected that for the Shield, and like you can see like the similarities even down to the number three people. WWE realized that a small faction is much easier to get over. So that's why they started eliminating guys from Nexus. If you realize it like that. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, already Daniel Bryan was gone, but then we randomly lost Michael Tarver and Darren Young. Like, and we weren't happy about that because those were our buddies, but like they dropped people down. Then they added people in and switched them in and out, which didn't help. Whereas the Shield, all three members remained.
Right.
But then also WWE realized that a trio was much better than after the Shield. They had the New Day, even the Wyatt family. Was a trio
Yeah.
at the beginning. So like that's WWE found that's the right number, because then also seven superstars in Nexus. That's really hard to get seven guys over every week. And if they only have like one segment or whatever, like how do you do that? There's
Yeah.
just not enough TV time. Whereas three guys, oh, they only need one segment. You know what I mean? Three
Exactly.
guys, that's enough. But if you have seven guys fighting for TV time in like a 6 minute segment, that's really tough. It's really hard. So, but yeah, I made a whole video about it, and like I even talk about this time people don't know about, but in my mind, it was kind of like a passing of the torch. Like I could see what was happening, and this is when Curtis Axel, shout out Joe Hennig, my guy. He was McGillicuddy at the time, and we were New Nexus, and we were just gonna stop being New Nexus, and he and I were gonna be a tag team, and we got punted off of TV by Randy Orton. He punted us back to FCW to train for like a month or so. And I remember like the first day we turned up to do like some practice matches and stuff. The two guys they had us work with it was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and they explained to us. I could see like, oh, they're gonna be like a faction. They're putting them together. And I was like, oh, I get it. And they were super cool. That was my first time actually meeting Seth.
Oh wow.
Yeah, actually Roman too. Yeah, because like I knew they were in FCW, like they'd been signed, like I think while we were on the road or whatever, but like we hadn't been back there enough. I didn't live in Tampa anymore to meet them, so that was my first time meeting them. And yeah, they're super cool, man. Shout out to those guys. Proud of
That's an
proud of everything they did.
that's such a cool like behind the scenes passing of the torch thing because I mean there's it's not exactly different generations, but I do think like you were either like a big Nexus fan or like the Shield got you into watching wrestling again, you know? Like it kind of feels split. So it's cool that there
Yeah,
was like a moment like that. I'm excited for that video.
yeah, definitely check it out. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, when you get back, I think this is after the punting off TV and everything. When you get back, you're part of a we get to see like the legal side of David Otunga, and you're part of a really unique episode of Raw where everybody votes no confidence on Triple H and walks out.
I
And I'm
forgot about
curious
it.
if you remember anything from that because it was just such a unique episode of Raw. Like everyone left and it was kind of like makeshift. I thought it was a really entertaining thing that they did there.
Yeah, I do remember that. So that was right when I was starting the lawyer gimmick, and like they didn't really have any storylines for me yet. They were trying to figure out what to do with me. And then when that storyline came up, hey, let's make a tongue a part of this. And
Yeah.
like this is perfect for the lawyer gimmick. So like I don't think they intended initially, it wasn't drawn up that way, but then when they realized, oh, I was doing this other gimmick, they put me in it and it was great. But what I remember is they gave me some tweet and I had to say something about unsafe work environment or workplace harassment, whatever it was that I had to tweet on uh and it was earlier, it was selling the show. I was saying it was said something like we're gonna enough of an unsafe work environment and we're gonna do something about this tonight, whatever it was, right? So yeah, I said it out. I had people from my life that follow me that don't watch wrestling at all and who knew me from being a lawyer commenting, like sending me personal text, David, hey, I'm so sorry. Like I saw what you like. Do you need to talk? Like, hey man, I haven't heard from like I hope all's well. Like, what's going on? And I
So,
realized, oh, they don't know this is storyline. Like, oh my gosh. Cause yeah, that would sound terrible. Like, yo, he's losing his yo, David
yeah,
Otunga's crashing out on it
he's
on
going public.
Twitter
Yeah.
right now. He's telling everybody all his personal problems at work and everything.
That's so
Man.
funny. Did it feel good to kind of get away from that Nexus and also like I think they always referred to you as like the husband of like Jennifer Hudson,
Yeah.
like all this stuff. Did it feel good to get away and kind of start anew with this lawyer gimmick?
Yeah, and that's one of the most rewarding things was that that's exactly why I did it, to be honest. And I started that character by changing a promo live on the air. They wanted me to come out and cut this promo. McGillicuddy and I came out on Raw, and they were trying to say that we weren't charismatic, and like the lines were Jerry Lawler was going to say something about I'm not charismatic. The only reason I'm here is because of who I'm married to or whatever. Even though I was never married, but they're always trying to bring my fiance into this. And I told the writer who showed this to me backstage, I'm not going to say that. I'm not talking about this. The writer, didn't like that, and I don't know, came back and told me, "Oh, we talked to Vince or something. They really want you to say this." I don't believe it. I don't believe they talked to Vince. I don't believe he would have said that. I don't believe that at all. He might have said it, but I don't believe they talked to Vince. Anyway, I said, "Okay, you all right? Fine. I'll say it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." And so on live TV, instead of saying that part, I just launched into kind of like a new character, started talking about my Harvard education and being a lawyer, which is something I hadn't really spent my character hadn't really talked about like on TV up until that point. And to Jerry Lawler's credit, he's so dope, such a professional. He didn't know I was going to say that, right? He knew what the other verbiage was. Didn't matter. He picked right up along with it and said something back like in that vein and went from there. And when you watch it, like if you don't know this backstory, you'd have no idea. And it
Yeah.
was seamless. But like I remember like the writer, they were kind of confused because I walked back through and it was perfect. And Vince really liked it. And it was kind of like news of like that they went this way. And I remember the writer just being weird, but like, yeah, oh, that was good. That was good. It worked. And like
Yeah.
not really selling the fact that I changed the whole thing, but yeah.
That's so cool. Again, like thinking on your feet, but like that's wild because I have seen that promo and it does seem seamless. You would have a
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's credit to Jerry Lawler for,
yeah.
playing off of me and just being good at improving. Yeah, shout out to King.
Well, we see that legal advisor role transition, your legal advisor to John Laurinaitis, and
Yeah.
WrestleMania 28, which is actually the first Mania I ever went to live. Your team captain of Team Johnny against Team Teddy. What did that WrestleMania moment mean to you? Because you were a pretty big part of that entire build and then the tag match itself.
Yeah, I was. I mean, that's like my WrestleMania moment if I think about it. 'Cause like I was the captain. It's my first WrestleMania match and we won. It was just awesome
Yeah.
being able to perform at Mania, go out there, be in front of that many people, be on the same card as The Rock versus John Cena won. Like,
Mhm.
man, it was awesome. My whole family was there. That's a very special moment. I always remember that one.
Yeah, you're right in between two like massive moments. It's the end of the era, right? It's Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Undertaker Hell in a Cell, and then it ends with like Rock Cena 1, like you said. Was there any change of atmosphere backstage with like such two huge matches on the card?
Everything just seemed every you had to be on your A game. Like it was really everybody wanted to perform because you knew this is like the biggest mania of all time at that time. The two biggest stars, the fact that we're on here, so much is going on. Like you just want to show out, just do your
Yeah.
absolute best.
Yeah. No, that makes sense for sure. I mean, that was a great WrestleMania. It was. I look back at the one fondly, maybe biased because I was there, but I thought it was cool. What leads you going from in-ring competitor to commentator?
Uh well, it's a long story. It's detailed on my YouTube channel, but the broad strokes of it was you know, uh eh, my fiance at the time basically kind of gave me an ultimatum without getting into it too much. And it's either my career, my family, or my career, and caused me to make a decision with where I was at. And I, wanted to spend more time with my family. And given where I was, because if you're going to be giving up that much time of your life and away from your family and stuff, it needs to be worth it. And it was, but at the same time, I didn't, if I really had to think about it, creative wasn't, they weren't necessarily using me the way I would have wanted to be, not what I got into wrestling to be, where I started to feel like, in a matter of speaking, it started to diminish my IP a little bit by like, man, they always I never won. They wouldn't let me win a match. But in their minds, just me being on the show was was all I needed. The win losses don't matter, which I understand that, but nah, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be, a top star.
Yeah.
Whereas when you see me in the ring, you're not like, all right, well, who's beating him tonight? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, um, but it was just that I actually asked for my release twice, and they wouldn't give it to me. They could convince me to stay, wanted to have me do, other things because, I was too valuable to the company. So then the leverage changed because now I'm there, but like kind of on my own terms. But like the whole time we're discussing me getting back into the ring, into the storyline. But while I'm out, Vince, he really likes me, really wants to try me as like an announcer. So they ask if I'll do the Raw pre-show and just give it a try. So I'm like, again, we're still talking about, and actively talking like, with creative. They're trying to get the right storyline for me to come back and be an in-ring competitor. But also, I was going down to the performance center. Like I asked Hunter if I could go down to the performance center because I still wanted to hone my craft and perfect it, so then I could have like a legitimate run on the main roster. Because I was pushed so fast, like into NXT. I personally didn't feel ready ring wise, like when I was brought up. But you can't say no. Like it is what it is, and that's not why they were bringing me up. They were bringing me up for my promos, my charisma, everything else. And so I get it, but still, I wanted to be more comfortable in the ring. But anyway, um, yeah, Vince asked me to do the Raw pre-show, and so obviously, I did it, still thinking we get back into the ring. But then he liked my work so much, he asked me to be a commentator on SmackDown. I was like, wow, I never expected that. Okay, and so I did that, and I really enjoyed it. And then I was still doing it until I filmed a movie, and then I had another movie come up, and so because that happened, they said, all right, well, Tonga's really doing some stuff, in film and in Hollywood and stuff. Let's pull him off of commentating every week, and then let him do the films and whatever, and then come back and do the pre-show panels on all the pay-per-views, and then eventually, if I have enough time in my schedule, to come back to commentating. And so that's what I did all the way up until COVID 2020, when
Right.
eventually then that's released with everybody else.
It was such a cool time of SmackDown that you commentated during also. Like that's so cool to have you like in that era of that, like 2016, I believe, right? Like SmackDown.
2016, yeah.
Yeah. We hear how stressful the commentary job could be. Is there a craziest thing that you remember kind of Vince saying in your ear around that time?
Um, to be honest, like Vince and I always got along. There's always mutual respect. He never screamed at me, never yelled at me. I've heard him do it to other people, but like he never really said anything crazy. He would talk to me in my ear, but he would give me like mostly like jabs to throw at Michael Cole or something,
Oh,
or
really?
JBL, like jokes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like he would be enjoying himself so much. Like it would be little like almost inside jokes where I'm like, the audience isn't gonna get this, but then they don't care. And he would do it just like to pop us. And so like that was more the vibe with Vince in my ear.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool. Well, thank you for coming on. I love just getting a glimpse into your career here, just little bits. Everyone should definitely check out your YouTube channel. I think your
Yeah.
videos again are fantastic. My final question I
And
ask everyone is if you could go back to young David Otunga before he embarks on this journey, is there any advice you would give him before everything?
yeah, I would say, just slow down and try to enjoy everything because it goes fast, and just try to be present, and I feel everything will work out. That's what I'd say, because things were happening so fast. Like as I was saying, I always was like stressed out because I am a perfectionist, and I want to do so well. It's like I was achieving things so fast, I almost felt like I wasn't ready for him, but obviously I was, because I was accomplishing one thing after the next. So
Yeah,
in hindsight, just slowing down, trusting myself more, and taking time to enjoy the journey. Yeah,
that's awesome. Awesome. Thank you again.
you got it. Thank you for having me.
Rewind, recap, relive. Woo! That's what the world is watching.